So the question asked, to all the campers on Reddit, what's the weirdest, creepiest, or disturbing thing you have seen or experienced on your camping trips? Are y'all ready for some scary stories? What's up, fam? It has been a minute since I have dived into the creepy world of AskReddit threads, and y'all, it is time. It is time. I've been craving some true, spooky, terrifying stories that will give you chills and nightmares and sweaty palms. And maybe a sweaty butt crack too, but that depends on you. I go camping every few months. A few years back, I went to this area that's not very popular and stayed with my friend in separate tents for a week. For a week? In separate tents? No thank you. This place was in a forest. The first 4 nights were normal, but after that little things started happening. Like we'd wake up and things would be knocked over or moved. That's terrifying. This continued for 2 nights. 2 nights more than I would have stayed. And on our last night there, someone started to unzip my tent. What the heck? I heard my friend yell, "I've got a gun!" and started to come out of his tent. The guy ran off and we packed up and left. Did you pack up and leave in the middle of the night? Because smart choice. Probably not smart to go venturing in the middle of the woods at night if it's a not popular area, but I guess there was multiple people with them, so I guess you'd have no choice because you would not feel safe. Yeah, it's probably for the best. That's freaking terrifying. Not all these stories have to be like paranormal in nature. I tend to gravitate towards the paranormal ones just because like the paranormal freaks me out like no other. But this is a good reminder that real people can be really scary. After the first instance of something creepy happening, how'd you stay? I cannot relate, bud. We were camping with friends at a private campground, about 100 acres of woods surrounded by farmland. Way too isolated for me to ever feel comfortable. I'd always feel like something's like in the bush line, like just waiting for me to turn around, you know what I'm saying? A few hours after sunset, we started hearing these pitiful screams echoing through the trees. They were human, but that didn't make it any less disturbing as they grew more panicked, louder, and more insistent as the hours went by. Are you freaking kidding me? Now, I know from other camping stories that I've read that people say, I can't remember, is it a panther or a mountain lion? Like their screams in the middle of the night can be very terrifying because they can sound like a woman screaming. That's creepy. Beyond the scariness of the scream, the fact that animal's really close to you and you don't know if it's hungry because you're in its territory, you know what I'm saying? The caretaker drove up to the ridge to check on us. He explained one of the local farms was weaning calves, and they did this by separating the babies from the herd and penning them in the pasture furthest from their house, which was next to the camp's property line. Oh, that's really sad. He came offering refunds of camp fees and earplugs. About half of us took him up on the earplugs though. Those who didn't sat grimly at breakfast, describing how the screams became even louder and more bone-chilling as the hours drug on. One friend said, "A terrified toddler is a terrified toddler, even if it's on 4 legs and hooves. Nature didn't build that sound to be ignored." I would rather think that there's some like creature living in the woods than little sad baby cows. One night I was camping alone. Camping alone? Why? Why would you do that? I'm all for doing things alone. Go grocery shopping alone. Go to the movies alone. Eat out alone. Go on a walk alone. Be prepared though with like a knife or like pepper spray, bear mace, you know, those precautions. But camping alone? Why? No. Murderers. Ghosts. So many things to be terrified of when you're by yourself. But anyway, one night I was camping alone. When I showed up to the campground, there were 2 cars parked in a parking lot. One was a family and the other was a guy that looked like he was in his 30s. I didn't see him until after I set up my camp. The family left, and as they were leaving, the man looked at me and told me to be safe. And he looked concerned. Okay, well that's terrifying and I would leave. Why is he concerned? Maybe because you're up by yourself. As the day turned and went dark, I noticed the guy who was still there was being kind of strange. He kept looking in and around his car, taking everything out and then putting it back inside again. He was on drugs and just really weirdly looking for a cigarette. He came to ask me for one. I gave him one. I should have left, but I was stupid back then. Plus, it was late and I wasn't near my home. I guess I could have rented a hotel, but I really didn't think about it. And I wish I did. Oh, I bet you did. The night was thunder and lightning and wind. I was enjoying seeing the lightning storm from inside my tent. Would you enjoy that? I feel like that would be even more terrifying because it would mask footsteps. Maybe I'm just paranoid. I was finishing up the last of my beer and was ready to lay down to get some rest. I think I was trying to not be worried about the strange guy not too far from me. My tent was by the bathroom, which had an outlet, so earlier in the day I had charged my phone just a little bit. Why was it not fully charged? So many red flags here, bud. But he did say he was stupid, so. Anyway, as I lay down and get ready to doze off, I get this sickening feeling in my gut, which those should never be ignored. It was windy outside, so it made the tent move around, and it was actually quite loud. My mind went to fear very quickly. I was all alone with him. At night, all alone in the woods. I got on my phone, which had a little bit of charge, and reached out to a few friends for comfort, someone to talk to about what was going on and how I was feeling. I don't think I had ever been so terrified in my life. I even cried. I was so scared. Why didn't you just leave? Just leave. Just pack up in the middle of the night and run. Just leave your tent. Who cares? You'll get another tent. What's a life when there's a tent? You can come back in the daylight for your tent. Just possible ideas. Just typing this is bringing me chills. My phone died. I had no light except for the little bit of moonlight, which made it able for me to see shadows outside my tent. So probably the exact opposite of comfort. I knew I wasn't alone. I had my knife in my hand ready just in case I needed to defend myself against him. I looked above me, and this, I don't know if it was just my mind playing tricks on me or if it was actually real, but what I think I saw or was seeing was a shadow above my head where I was laying, and it looked like a person. I thought I saw the shoulders and the head just standing there. That literally just gave me goosebumps. I was scared that the guy was standing there right above me looking over my tent. This lasted quite a while, so he was just standing there looking at him for a while he was just in there grasping his knife. No, thank you. I held onto my knife so gosh darn tight, and I didn't get any sleep that night. One of the longest nights of my life, to be honest, and I don't think I'll ever go camping alone again. Next time, I'll get a hotel room for the night. Just like, don't ever go camping. No, camping's really fun. I would not recommend it alone. A lot can happen. Not only could a weird, creepy man watch you while you sleep, what if you fall and get hurt and you don't have cell service, or your phone's dead, or what if you get attacked by an animal, or there's a flash flood, or it gets colder than you think. I don't know. That, I guess, is all just be people unprepared. But maybe when you're by yourself, you're a little less prepared though if you're in a group. Safety in numbers. That's a motto I like to live by. I was camping in northern British Columbia. Oh, I would love to go there someday. All the pictures were always so gosh darn beautiful. About 15 miles down a logging road, 2 hours away from any civilization. No! Like, it's just too scary. In the dead of night, me and my buddy, thankfully he wasn't alone, we were awoken by a sound neither one of us had ever heard before. Okay, that gave me chills. Oh, that gave me chills. Coming from a range about 2 miles away. Well, that was really weird. It wasn't a bear, nor a wolf, nor a bobcat. Oh, maybe it's a bobcat that makes those weird whining, screaming noises. Regardless, terrifying. It sounded like a cross between a gorilla and a grizzly. I don't even know what that sounds like. That description right there sounds terrifying to hear in the middle of the night where no one is around besides you and your friend. Oh, no. Just a thin piece of fabric separating that thing from you. No. It kept growling in what sounded like faint thumping sounds. It sounded like a log being smashed against a tree. Okay, thank you for that visual. I'm just thinking of a gorilla grizzly hybrid smashing a log against a tree as it makes its way towards you. Okay, that's nice. This went on for about 45 minutes. We sat there clutching our shotguns. We weren't hunting. We were in grizzly bear country, so they came prepared just in case. The growling and thumping were getting closer. So we thought. We said screw this and hastily threw everything in my truck, tossed water on smoldering fire, and bailed. So gosh darn smart. This is probably like the smartest turn of events in a story on Reddit I've ever read. We hit the first truck stop about 1 hour later, and talking to the locals who were native told us we were probably hearing a Sasquatch. A Sasquatch. That's hard to say. And the sounds we heard were some type of mating call. My buddy still lives out there, and now he's become a full-time Bigfoot tracker. Well, that's a very interesting turn of events. I was not expecting one bit. Yeah, so basically, don't camp in a secluded area. Definitely don't camp in a secluded area by yourself. And, if you're going camping, really just remember scary stories so that you are prepared in case you encounter a scary story yourself. Oh my gosh, these always give me such chills. Whenever I read these stories, I literally like have the weirdest, craziest, creepiest dreams. Seriously, if you end up having like some dream about camping tonight, come back to this video and leave it down in the comments and tell me what it was about, because I would be very curious to know how many nightmares these stories inspire. Maybe not nightmares, maybe just like creepy dreams.